It was the 38th time the blind woman had been harassed by her boss. She finally breathed a sigh of relief when he left. But that day, her boss secretly entered her home and forcefully pushed her to the ground. Her name was Lisa. A car accident years ago had taken both her sight and her parents. Since then, she had longed for light in her life. That day, Lisa finished work and walked into the security room, immediately taking out candies from her bag. She always chatted with the elderly security guard whenever she returned. Until the man told her the truth, the old guard had been laid off. The man's name was George. Once a boxing champion, an unfortunate incident had landed him in prison for 3 years. Upon release, he became a water delivery man. Security guard was his newest job. This was their first meeting. On a rainy day, Lisa stayed to avoid the downpour. They watched TV together. Though she couldn't see the images, Lisa listened happily. George was touched by her sunny smile. He realized that even a blind person could smile with such brightness. When they parted, Lisa gave him a boxed meal. Back home that night, the man smiled contentedly. Perhaps it was loneliness, or perhaps because they were both outcasts from society, their similar circumstances drew Lisa back to visit again. Despite blind people being particularly sensitive to smells, she never complained about George's smelly feet. For the first time in years, the man paid attention to personal hygiene, carefully washing feet that hadn't been cleaned in 3 years. As they said goodbye, they shook hands, their first physical contact. Lisa asked why his hands were so rough. George, feeling self-conscious, didn't answer. Despite her optimistic outlook on life, Lisa worried about practical problems like a clogged drain. George began looking forward to her visits. When sad scenes played on TV, Lisa would tear up. She asked George what he looked like. "The most handsome man in the world," he replied. As they parted one day, a car horn startled her, causing her to fall. George carried her on his back. Under the streetlights, they created a particularly heartwarming scene. Lisa smiled oddly because her home had a long staircase that left George exhausted after climbing. He even fixed her clogged drain. Hearing the water flow again made Lisa smile. To thank him, Lisa invited George to a concert. The man happily went downstairs. Lisa made a special trip to the hair salon, where the stylist gave her a new hairstyle. Though she didn't know she now sported an outrageous afro, she felt absolutely charming. When George saw her, he was stunned. At the concert, Lisa listened attentively while George's gaze remained fixed on her. At the restaurant afterward, Lisa asked about his previous occupation. Suddenly, George fell silent. He rudely told her not to mind his business. These words hurt Lisa's pride. Thinking he looked down on her, she left. George followed, explaining that he had done many wrong things in the past but wouldn't anymore. Guilt had prevented him from telling her the truth. Lisa went home, still a bit angry. The next day, he waited for Lisa, but she never came.